Hi, Emily here. I'm an INFJ, and I've been wanting to do a video about self-care and talk about some of my experiences, both positive and negative, relating to caring for myself and the journey of learning how important and valuable that is. Today I went into the doctor for a yearly physical, and I was especially feeling celebratory as just to see where I've come from and where I am now, and just to see all of the gains I've made, and which have largely come through being intentional about caring for myself. So I just want to share some of the things I've learned in my experience with self-care. First, when I say self-care, I'm talking about making a conscious choice to put the needs of my body, mind, and spirit at the forefront of my decision-making in order to ensure that my giving and expending are not exceeding my recharging and nourishment of the self. This isn't to say, though, that like in the event of an emergency or a special occasion, I'm not willing to wholeheartedly dive in and make some sacrifices, but it is to say that in the normal dailies of life, like the day-to-day, that I want to listen to my body and be purposeful about carving out the time it needs to properly rest and replenish and recharge. And this isn't just physically, I mean also emotionally and spiritually and mentally. So that's what I mean by self-care. So to make a very long story short, through a lot of trial and error, I've learned a lot about the necessity of self-care. And during this whole journey, I've gained some really invaluable tools, personally invaluable tools, that are helping me move toward wellness as I've come to understand it. So, one of the things I've really wrestled with in relation to self-care is the guilt I often experience and the debates I have with myself over my physical output or my lack thereof. I've realized that I tend to measure a great deal of my self-worth based off my performance, and I've had to learn to moderate that and modify some of the expectations I have for myself or that I feel others have for me, to kind of modify and filter them. And then I've needed to stop holding myself to a standard that's not a good fit for me, and that I could talk about for a long time. But yeah, that's been a journey in itself. Another thing I've wrestled with is just the whole idea of rest, and not just sleeping, but like taking time out of life to have a completely clear schedule, to have nothing planned, and just to kind of just be. And I've also wrestled with learning to say no, especially with not feeling guilty afterward. One thing I've learned in particular pertaining to rest is that I find interesting is that our days, our 24-hour days, when the clock flips over at midnight to a new day, it's dark out and the majority of us are sleeping, and it's from sleep and from rest we rise to take on the day. So it's like the beginning of a day is rest, and it's from the platform of rest almost we're to live our lives, and I just think that's really significant. Another thing I've come to just kind of internalize is the whole idea of loving my neighbor as I love myself. And I've noticed that the scripture doesn't say love yourself as you love your neighbor. No, it addresses loving yourself first, and I really believe that it highlights the importance of me loving myself first, not in a selfish way, but in a way that allows me to then love others. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit. So I really think that I am to go out and give to others and pour into their lives after or from a place of nourishing my own. But again, there's margin in my thinking here for moments of sacrifice and necessity and emergency. Again, I'm just talking about the dailies, the day-to-day, and especially the long term. So, because for many years I had been operating at a speed that was okay for sprinting, but not marathons. And as I've moved more into the marathon years of my life, I've come to realize, no, I can't sustain that rapid kind of speed, and my body shut down in a lot of different ways for periods of time, just almost in revolt, and it actually just forced me to stop and consider the speed I was going and where it would lead and the outcomes of that speed if I didn't modify that speed. So yeah, when I talk about doing things and sleep and expending energy, I'm not talking just about physical expenditures like housework and building something, like working with your hands or your body. I'm also talking about emotions and our mind and our spirituality and how we're expending ourselves there and if we're replenishing ourselves there. So overall, I was driving myself hard on all of those planes, and I'm just really thankful that my body did revolt, even though it was painful, because it got me to listen. So anyway, the main point I wanted to talk about in this video is the rewards of caring for yourself. The more I am intentional about caring for my body and my mind and my spirit and my emotions, just the more fruit there is. It's really cool, and I just want to celebrate the ongoing decision I and others make to say the word no and not feel guilty about it, and to take time to just be, and to embrace sleep, and to create and keep margin in one's life, especially almost to be jealous over that margin. I know that it's just brought, and that's all within, circumstances permitting. Life happens, but again, it's the long term, the habits of life that I'm talking about here. And then overall, sorry about that, that was just the answering machine. Anyway, it's brought me to such a place of much more peace and clarity and mindfulness and stability and strength. It's just a much better place to approach life from. So I don't know how this kind of self-care relates to other personality types and how other personalities wrestle with it so much as I know what it's like to wrestle with it as an INFJ. And I know, like, as an INFJ, because I'm introverted, that means it's really important for me to recharge after I expend in order to function well. And then also because I'm really intuitive, this means I uptake a lot of emotional experiences which I need time to process through. Otherwise, I'm liable to get internally cluttered and drained and overwhelmed. And then also, because I'm so feeling oriented, I'm liable to want to please others and not cause conflict, and so that means I'm going to struggle saying no, and I'm going to struggle doing what I need to do. And so there's just a struggle there because I'm always considering, well, what are they going to think, or what do they need, or what do they want, or how do they feel? And that tends to be, that can be an encroachment upon the self-care that I need to practice. And then also, I think, being more of a judger than a perceiver, I think that tends to make me more of a doer, in that, like, when something needs to be done, I want to see it done, and I want to see it done now or as soon as possible, so it's just done and out of the way. But I've learned that I need to be more accepting of delay and patient, and just kind of rest when those times in life come when there's something going on that I can't really do anything about, and I just need to just let there be delay. So I think these are all things that make it especially important for INFJs to consider and embrace caring for themselves. And I think in doing so, it enables and it allows us to be more of our desirable strong sides. Like, it allows us to be more creative and connecting and artistic, and it even allows us to be more caring in a sustainable way. I think one of my favorite perks of self-care has been that in taking care of myself, I'm better able to take care of those I love. And as an INFJ, taking care of those I love is super important. It's one of, if not one of my highest things I value, is I want to take care of those I love. And so as an INFJ, I've learned that I have to love myself if I'm going to love other people well. And of course there's loving myself first or loving them first. There's debate about that, but all I'm just trying to say is caring for myself and working and going out into the world from a place of nourishment and rest and peace and internal stability is a much better way I've learned to approach life. And I just want to share this with others and celebrate those who are learning to care for themselves and do it, because it takes courage. It really does. But the rewards are just invaluable. So thank you for listening. Please share any comments you might have, and have a good day.